What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 57. I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. We've got a very special episode today. Not only do we have my co-host, Kendall McKee, but we also have a very special guest, Frankie Goodman from Digital Grading UK. We're going to talk all sorts of sports card strategy today. We're going to do our typical show rundown, of course, with our L of the week, W of the week, buy and sell. And we're also going to talk World Cup because World Cup 2022 is finally here. And Kendall's pumped. And Frankie is actually missing kickoff of UK versus Iran right now to be on the Sports Card Strategy Show. So we really appreciate that. But first, gentlemen, I have a burning question to get to, and it is, why vault your cards with the original marketplace? Because eBay Vault isn't just a way to protect what you collect. It's a new way to trade. Kendall knows this, but not only have your cards never been safer thanks to our secure climate-controlled facility, but you're also locking in real savings. You pay no sales tax when you ship to or transact within the vault, and there are no storage fees for 2 years. Now, just imagine everything you can do with all that money. And with the eBay Vault's seamless in-app experience, you can track, buy, and sell your cards in real time. From listing your cards in seconds with eBay Collection to tracking trends with eBay Price Guide, managing your collection is more seamless than ever before. The eBay Vault, buy, sell, secure. So the eBay Vault's awesome, but what's also awesome is the fact that I was at the London Card Show a few weeks ago, and I was walking by this awesome gentleman's booth, and I saw that he has his own grading company, and I became extremely intrigued by this, and really liked what he was doing from a business standpoint. And he and my son Max were working on a little deal when I walked over to the booth. So Max and I kept asking questions, got to know Frankie Goodman really well, and he knows his stuff, and we're really happy to have him on the show. So Kendall, say hello to Frankie. Everybody say hello to Frankie. Frankie, thanks for coming on. Good to have you. Tell us a little bit about your grading company.
Yeah, so I guess it all started really from the lack of options that we've got available in the UK, and especially when PSA sort of shut down their submissions, and that then made it even more difficult. So we just felt like we needed something more local to us, something that also maybe modernized grading a little bit, because it just seemed like things had been the same for so long and there'd been no progression, and sort of you find that quite typically when a company has a monopoly over something, they can kind of almost get a little bit not lazy, but just take everything for granted, you know. And I can fully understand why they take that stance, because it is still the standard in terms of PSA, and you know, fully appreciate that. But I think one of the biggest pain points from our perspective is people will sometimes vault their cards for a year, sometimes more than a year, when submitting to the US through PSA, and a lot happens in that period of time. You know, it's you send a card away when things are hot, and the card is worth grading and everything's great, and then you get it back and that player may be injured or may not be, you know, hot property anymore. So you kind of miss the boat a little bit. So I think we just needed something a little bit different, and that caused me to start going out there and having a look into what grading companies were doing, how they were doing it, and just trying to work out some of those pain points really, and seeing if we could create something through our development agency. We own a development house here in the UK, and could we use technology to modernize grading a little bit and just bring it into the modern times. So that's how it all came around really. And I would say we're not still 100% exactly where we want to be. I think we've got some evolution still to go. But you know, we kind of started off with a certain type of slab. we've since improved on that, we feel, and taken that to the next level. So our slabs are now very different to when we first started. Our labels are very different to when we first started. Our online system looks completely different. So it almost seems like every couple of months we get feedback, we listen. That's one of the real key aspects of what we try and do, is listen to feedback and actually take it on board, and try and find what people are really wanting, because especially there's a lot of new people entering the hobby now. It's been a huge growth over here. It's been massive, and as all those new people have started to enter, there's differences of opinions and slightly different ways people would like to see things done. So we've got to be a little bit careful that we don't be influenced too much and go off of what our main ethos is, but also we still feel it's very, very important to listen to some of that feedback. And there's one thing that is it's a massive question that the people who are involved with Digital Grading Company can't absolutely confirm how they want to see this moving forward. And also, even the people we ask are still a little bit unsure themselves. So I'll ask you two gentlemen later as well, and see what your opinion on it is. So it'll be interesting to see what your feedback will be.
Yeah, that sounds good. We're excited to talk more about this, because I was intrigued when I walked by your booth, and this is the Najee Harris. It's graded a 91. This is a rookie luminance, I believe. No, yeah. Prism Chronicles Dynagon. So it's an insert in Chronicles Dynagon. It's a Prism insert. It's out of 75, and you can see the slab looks great. It looks like the design of the label is sort of matching the card color, and there's a QR code on the front with a grade of 91 that we'll let you explain in a second. And then on the back is the information about the card. So I had some hard hitting questions for you at your booth, because there's obviously unfortunately, there's a lot of drama around new grading companies popping up. I personally think, I want to congratulate you for making it this far, because I think it's a huge endeavor to try to undertake starting a new grading company. Kudos to you for also doing it when there was a lot of opportunity with PSA shutting down and everything. I actually was thinking, what a great opportunity for companies to start their own grading services right now, while everything's so popular and PSA, has a backlog and everything like that. So I was very, very impressed with what I saw, and I'll let you kind of answer for the audience. Like, what does your grading scale look like, and why did you decide to do it out of 100? And what does a 91 mean?
Yes. So, and this is one of the big pressing questions, and it does follow on from what I just mentioned a second ago as to how we should display this scale that we think is really important. And the reason why we think it's important to not just have a 10-point scale is that there are so many criteria in which a card is graded. And at the moment, we feel there's far too much leniency towards the non-perfect card. And also the fact that there's too much interpretation involved, that you can get a Monday grade where somebody's having a bit of a bad Monday, not feeling very in a good mood. I'm going to mark that down to a 9 today. And then it could be a Friday grade, and something could be a little bit of whitening or slight corner softening, or it could be the leniency towards the centering. And it could be, well, actually today I'm in a good mood. It's Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. We're going to give this a 10 today. So we didn't like the fact that there was that real flip-flop approach to 9s and 10s. And we felt like, if you get some small whitening on a corner, one, I don't think it's fair that that's given a 10, because it's not a perfect card. So if you're buying a perfect card off of eBay and you're buying a PSA 10, I would expect that card to be absolutely perfect. Yet something's been passed through to allow that to be a 10, because it's that in that realm of leniency. I don't feel that's right. I feel that a card, if it's going to be a perfect grade, i.e. what we grade 100, then that's great. But I also understand that to go down from a 10 to a 9 based on a tiny bit of whitening almost seems quite harsh. And at that point, you think, yeah, I can understand. And then that's where you get into the argument stage. And I didn't want any arguments to be possible with what we were putting together. If there is a small bit of whitening, yes, the card should be downgraded because it's not a perfect card. However, it shouldn't drop all the way to a 9. So based on, if we split our card scan, so we use high resolution DPI scanners to basically scan the card surface to pick up things that the human eye wouldn't necessarily pick up, and then divide that card into 100 grid. Every time there is an imperfection in one of those grids, we can then mark the card down by 1. So if it is a small piece of whitening on the edge surface or on the corner, then that card will drop down to a 99. You still then know it's a really strong grade. It's a great grade. It's very close to perfect. However, in full transparency, it isn't perfect, and that's exactly how it should be. So that's why we felt like bringing in a 100-point scale was important. But that's where we've probably had our biggest pushback from the hobby, and that's that people find that total change in grading scale quite difficult. So we started to toy around, well, maybe we could bring in a happy medium, that it's not, we don't display it as a 100-point scale. A 99 would basically be a 9.9. And people actually related to that far better, because that's almost to the realms then of Beckett kind of grading, that you've got those subgrades, but it's not just a 0.5 subgrade. It is a true subgrade, i.e. that it goes all the way from, 0.1 to 0.9. So yeah, that's probably where we're having our biggest challenges on trying to make a decision on what the right approach would be.
I like that a lot. It's hard to believe that like people would struggle with a 91 but understand a 9.1, but I guess it does make sense, because you really do need to sort of make, like everything in marketing, you need to make it as simple as possible and as seamless with what the audience is already used to, right? So that actually does make a lot of sense, and I like that. So I think I want to just let the audience know a little bit more real quick about your pricing and everything like that. So right now, is this correct? You can get cards graded for £8.99, like £8.99. I don't know how you say that in GBP. You can
pence
say that
is what we are. We're pence. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. So so it's basically, what's that? That's about 10 American dollars ish. So
it'd be less. It's probably about $7 in the current exchange rate.
Okay. So that's pretty good. And then it's a 2-week turnaround.
Oh, no, sorry, you're right. It would be the other way around, wouldn't it? So it would be about
it'd be,
10. Sorry, it would be about 10.
It'd be a little bit more expensive. So,
yeah,
but it's still a good price. And it's beating, it's beating PSA, it's beating SGC, it's really beating everybody. And then you've got a 2-week turnaround time. So is that for like an order of any size, or
yeah,
how are you guys doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of how we grade and using the high resolution scans and the AI technology is that it's so fast. So when a card comes in, we can turn the grade around normally under 5 minutes. So it doesn't actually take that long. We do then have QC after that. So to make sure that everything's gone correctly, we do also have a human element to the AI grading at the moment. We feel that's important, especially in the early stages, to make sure that the AI grading's not missing anything or getting anything wrong. We're not seeing any problems with it so far, but we still feel that second step of human intervention is really important before the card is shipped out. So, but it's just so fast to grade. So we're very confident that even as things scale, and even as we take more volume in, we can still match those turnaround times, no problem.
Sounds good. I'm taking all the grading company questions up front here and not letting Kendall talk yet, just because I know he's going to, as soon as he starts talking to you, you guys are going to talk, you're going to be talking about the World Cup the entire time. So Kendall, I promise I'll get to you here in a second.
It's all good.
but digitalgradingco.co.uk is where you can go. And so Frankie, just like you talked a little bit about the audience, in the UK for grading cards. So it sounds like a couple different things are happening. One, there's more and more people in the UK that want to have cards graded. Is that right?
Yeah, I still think we haven't got into the habit enough yet of grading cards. I still feel like there's this real, whether it be a break or whether it be opening a product, it's a real normally quick sell or sort of PC. It's if I've hit PC cards, I'm going to put them in a binder. That's fine, and put them away into a. I mean, people love a mag in the UK. Mags are kind of like the thing that everybody wants their cards in, and we don't really have that. But I feel that is because the amount of options that are available. We do have other grading companies in the UK, but they just don't seem to be hitting on the real needs for what people are looking for in the UK. We feel like those custom labels, there are other grading companies that produce custom labels and color matching, but we haven't seen anyone who literally takes elements of the card and turn that into a label. That actually takes longer than grading the card. Grading the card isn't the problem. To have a designer actually come in and select the right element of the card to take that would work in a label, that actually takes a lot longer than the actual grading aspect of it. So, but we want to put the effort into that because we feel like as cards are becoming more pieces of art and not just this plain looking item, we feel like the label should match. It shouldn't just be this plain label with a red board around it or however it wants to be. We actually feel like, the card deserves that bit of extra attention, that if you want it on display, it looks really nice, looks really smart. It should be something that you can put on your wall with pride, not just stuck in a slab case and hidden away in the dark. That, we actually want people to display their prized possessions. And if we're going to allow people to do that in the best way, then we feel like it should look the part. So that's why we kind of improved our quality of slab to as high a level as we can, while still be able to have an affordability aspect of it. And we also wanted to have a price point where you could send in a card for grading with us. There are a lot of grading services at the moment where it's kind of will tell you whether you might get a PSA 10 or not.
Right.
We wanted to price it to a point that actually you can get a card graded on the basis of, I don't know whether this will grade very well. I don't want to have to send it to PSA and end up paying a lot of money out for something that's going to come back a really low grade. And while we absolutely understand we cannot guarantee whether you are going to get a PSA 10 or not, even if your card gets a 100 grade with us, it still gives you a really good idea. And those cards that come back that are a lower grade, at least they're in a really nice custom label, display slab that you're happy to put on your wall or display in your home or wherever it may be, in your office. And those ones that do grade really high, you may even want to crack that slab and send it away to PSA. And we totally understand that. PSA is still going to be the money maker. We are not going to be able at this point in time to be able to add the value that PSA adds, and we understand that. However, we would hope that with the 100 grades being a true perfect card, that in time, once we build that level of trust, a 100 grade through DGC may actually command a higher price than a PSA 10. But that's
I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's exactly where I wanted to go next. I bought I think at the time, at least, it maybe was the only 100 in the history of
that was the only 100 we had with us on the day. We have had a few others prior, but it was the only one we actually had with us. But I think there's probably only been, in the 1,000 cards that we've graded, maybe 6 or 7.
Okay, so I got a Pedri Merlin refractor rookie, so nice. 2020, and it's 100. And it just looks, like I even talked to Frankie about this at the show. I was like, and he
have
it
with you?
Yeah, I do. I'll grab it while you guys are talking, and then I'll bring it back, because it's over here in the corner. It's actually packed up in bubble wrap because I'm about to move back to the States, as you guys know. So it's packed up in my carry-on. But with the Cade Cunningham 94 that I bought, so I'll bring them both out here in a second.
Yeah, that aged well for you this weekend.
I know, right? That's a whole other story, which we can talk about
your L of the week
later on in the show. Yeah, exactly. Prepared for the L of the week on that one. Yeah, so I'm torn because, you know, to see the 100 grade on the card, and actually you can tell a difference in the card. Like Max and I were both, we talked to Frankie about this at the show. And then on the train ride back into central London, we were like, you know what? This, you can tell the difference. Like, this looks like a perfect card. I mean, you look at the Cade and it looks like it could be a PSA 10, but then you look at the Pedri 100 and the difference between the 94 and the 100, it's hard to say, right? Because you're looking at like an optic basketball card versus a Merlin soccer card. And so it's totally different, but you look at the Pedri and you're like, this centering looks perfect. There's nothing on the, I mean, it just looked like like it would get a BGS black label or something. So actually what I wanted to ask Frankie before we throw up the promotion on the promotion you guys have coming up here for the holidays is like, if I were you, I would be thinking, I would almost be excited in a weird way to see cards of my slabs selling on the secondary market, just to see like just to compare them to a PSA 10 or a PSA 9 or an SGC 10 or whatever, SGC 9.5, like just to, has that happened yet? Do you guys keep track of that? And it's great that you're sort of acknowledging like, hey, look, we know that this could be kind of an intermediate service. Kendall used a service at the National like that, where you can walk right up and get a grade within the next 30 minutes on whether or not they think it's going to be an 8, 9, 10, that kind of thing. So I actually think that your approach to that, Frankie, is going to make you legitimate in the hobby, to say like, hey, look, we're happy if you use us as like a pre-grading for PSA or SGC or whatever. We're at that price point, so we can provide that value to you. Or if you like it, you can keep it in the slab for collectors who just want to have something nicer to look at. Maybe consistent look and feel across all their cards at a low price. You can do that too. But like, what, from a business standpoint, for you to truly grow this, do you feel like you have to sell on the secondary market at a certain level? Like what kind of internal discussions have you guys talked about, and do you track that at all?
Yeah, no, we do. We have alerts set up. I'm very keen on keeping an eye out for what any of our slabs that are hitting the secondary market, as predominantly eBay really, but we do keep an eye out in card groups as well. We've seen evidence of it adding value. So there was a Hoops LaMelo base rookie card. I think the sort of typical price point that it goes for was about $8.99 in British pounds. But 100 grade of that sold for $29.99. So that was a nice uplift based on that. So that was good to see. There has been evidence of, certainly our slabs adding value. And I also think they add value just sometimes from a design perspective. As I said before, if it's a PC card and you see a really nice, beautiful matching label slab, you would feel okay to pay a little bit more for that to display that. So how much value that is, it's probably not much. And we accept that. But with the pricing of the grading where it's at, I think that would still be hopefully something that people would consider. It would be nice for us to get to the point where we can add as much value as PSA, but we understand that that's a very, very long way away. They've been around for a very long time. They've got that reputation, they've got the credibility, and everybody knows that if you get a PSA 10, then you're laughing in terms of the value of your card. So at the moment, it's slowly. We understand that. We're not looking to have that ego that we feel like we're going to, jump in on that and overtake that at this stage. It's just not going to do that. So we're trying to model what we offer accordingly as much as we can. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I still think that the place where the additional value will come on the aftermarket will be those hundreds, because I think people would then almost, like people look out for a BGS 9.5 and try and cross it over to a PSA 10 to add the value. They might do the same with our 100 grades. So,
yep. I wish I would have known about Digital Grading Co. over the last couple of years because I would have tried to just figure out a way to get them all over from Spain over to you to get them graded rather than wait to go to the States and then send them all to SGC like I did a couple summers ago. But I really, really like the product. I really, really like the service. Tell us about Slab Vent that you guys have going on.
So we like to
cheeky.
We like to give back to the hobby a little bit where we can. We feel that's really important. We understand that people can get quite burnt with breaks, and breaks is a massive part of the hobby in the UK. And we feel like that there's almost a little bit too much of a gambling element to it sometimes. Look, it's not up to us to say how people spend their money in the hobby, and that's absolutely fine. But we've had evidence of 16-year-olds who are getting involved in Instagram raffles and message us that they've spent all of their pocket money on X, Y, and Z, and we've ended up sending them out a Kante signed rookie card just to make them feel a little bit better, as long as they promise not to enter raffles anymore. So we just try and do the right thing for the hobby where we can. We feel like that's really important, and Slab Vent plays a part in that. We like to give back every Christmas. Last year, we done a Christmas Day slab break. So we've done slab breaks in the past where we take our personal collection of slabs, we put them into a break style where they're all hidden and randomized within sort of silver packages. And we ensure that every single slab has a higher value than what the entry price is. So you cannot lose money on entering our slab break. You know that whatever you're going to hit, there will be at least a card of the same value of what you pay to enter. And then we always have a real big hitter in there as well. So we've had like Haaland autos before. It was a Leaf Haaland auto, admittedly, but it was still a £400 card that was in that slab break, which that comes out of our bottom line. That's all lost to us, but we're happy to do that because we want to give back as much as we can to the hobby as well. And Slab Vent is exactly the same. So you can choose your budget. So you choose any budget you like. Some people have gone for £600, so like $700. Some people have gone for £100, so $120. And every day through Christmas, we jump on YouTube and we will do a mystery reveal. You can choose your sports. So we offer baseball, NFL, football, and basketball. We've had even some people ask for Star Wars and stuff like that. And we can accommodate that as well. Not in as much volume as sports, but we can certainly pop some Star Wars or Marvel in as well, because we do have those slabs available. And you can even pick teams and players. And while not every single card is going to be, I PC Haaland, I want all Haaland cards in, because it's just not going to work that way. We certainly will try our best to match to your preferences as we can. And yeah, we will reveal a mystery slab for you every day on YouTube. And then on Christmas Day, you will be entered into our yearly slab break, where there'll be some really big hitting cards in there as well. And we've also got a signed Beckett Ronaldinho shirt that will be raffled off on Christmas Day as well. And also a signed Pele shirt that will be raffled off. And that all comes as part of your entry fee. So it's not like there's extra charges for being involved in that. That all comes as part of it. So we do it every year at Christmas. Just a massive give back to everybody who's involved with us and supports us. And just a lot of fun when Christmas is getting a bit boring and we've all had our dinner and, the day sort of getting a bit, is watching the same things on telly every year. We can all slip away and jump onto YouTube and have a bit of fun with some cards and some slabs. So yeah, a lot of fun.
That's neat.
Awesome. So at digital_grading, DM there for more information, and throw out the website. I want to make sure I get it right. digitalgradingco.co.uk, right, Frankie?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, awesome. So check that out. Kendall, I know you probably got some questions about this.
I do.
All right, over to you, my man. Everybody, I've hogged the show. This is Kendall McKee.
Hey, 30 minutes in, making my interjection. Let's get it.
Let's
go. Frankie, thanks for coming on during the Three Lions game. Big ups for you in that. I have some questions about the grading company. And if you have any examples there at your desk that you could show people, that would be pretty cool. Or if Paul can pull up some images of some online, that would be sweet as well. Because I've just now seen the Najee Harris, and I want to see some more.
There's one right in front of me here, which unfortunately the man got injured, but there's a nice.
All right, hold on, keep it up.
So right. Let me take it out of the outer plastic packaging because that's not showing off the nice gold vinyl as much as it should.
Oh, nice. That is nice.
Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
Gold vinyl, 1 of 5.
Yeah.
Which is
that's sick.
A nice card. So yeah.
Pretty cool. I found mine. That was fast. Here's the Pedri 100.
Wow.
And then here's the Cade, which I'm also very excited about in spite of the shin injury.
And that's something else that people have pushed back on us with, that we don't have the card details on the front of the card. People have kind of said that they would much rather see the card information on the front, like other grading companies do. Our QR code gives you much more detail about the card, so it will give you the set, the year. So we kind of want to encourage that digital element to it. So you scan the QR code, it gives you all of that. You go to the bottom, you have the grading notes, so what actually were the reasons why the card was graded down, and then at the very bottom you have our digital high resolution scans. So you can actually click on them, zoom in on them, and you can see everything that our AI and what we saw as well.
That's pretty neat. What do you guys do for like this? I'm just curious at this point. So you said you divided up into 100 different, sectors or whatever. What if there's well, let me ask this first. Do you guys grade vintage cards?
We typically haven't steered towards vintage cards at this point in time. And there are some rules that we don't accept, just because we
couple connection issues there, I think, with Frankie.
Yeah.
Got me okay. Okay, yeah. I was going to ask that too, Kendall. I'm sure we'll hear him here in a second. That was exactly what I was wondering, is on the vintage side. So I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, because there's a specific reason why I'm asking that leading question. Yeah,
I think authentication, right? I mean, that's got to be a huge concern.
Yeah, that is a question of mine, man.
Maybe he's
Iran's
went to go watch the game.
Iran's keeper got hurt already.
Okay,
so he's out.
Okay, hey, I'm sure
took a head to the face.
Frankie's gonna maybe fix his connection here, and if not, he's just watching the match, which we totally respect. So, Kendall, you want to jump into your L of the week for us?
Oh, he's back. He's back.
All right, cool. Here we go. We got him. We got him back, everybody.
There he is. Okay, vintage.
Yeah, so we do have some exclusions. We do appreciate the fact that our technology may not be ideal for vintage at this time. And we make it clear in our terms and conditions that we may refund on cards that are of a certain vintage. So, yeah, we do accept that there are some, exclusions to what we can offer our services on at this stage.
Can you kind of explain like what that, like, where does it cut off, or like how do you guys determine whether you can handle it, like whether the software can handle it or not?
To be honest, sometimes it's not been until the card has been received. So we actually have AI for centering as well. So we have the typical centering tool that's been digitalized, and then we overlay that on the high resolution scans. We had one card that was submitted to us that wasn't the correct dimensions of the centering tool. We then at that stage can't determine whether it's been trimmed or not. We don't want to make that call. We don't feel like we're the people to say, yes, it has been trimmed, or yes, it hasn't. So at that stage, we just refund the money and then the card is returned.
Well, the time is now. They've scored. They have scored. Jude Bellingham.
Hey,
looks like Jude has a goal. That's it. I think it was Jude. He's the one who's celebrating. The camera's on him. His hands are in the air. I didn't actually see it go through the net, but what a goal for a guy that I have been saying needs to have a great World Cup, and for us to have just a massive eyes on this World Cup. But let me just watch it for half a second. Oh, nice header. Far post coming in from across. Looking good, Jude. Off to his potential Golden Boot campaign already. Harry Kane, scoot over. It's Jude Bellingham's time. So good start for England here.
Excellent.
I guess the UK. No, it is England. Okay, so I guess where I was going with that question was Paul immediately asked about the authenticity of cards, which you did talk about in terms of the trimming. What do you guys do for authenticating autos? Like, is there a process you guys use for that specifically?
Yeah, so from the auto perspective, I mean, our background, we actually used to have a memorabilia company as well. So we're quite well versed in memorabilia. We've held signings with the likes of Declan Rice, who's playing right now, and so on. So we've got a background in memorabilia, and we do have people who know what they're doing in that regard. So because of that, we feel like we are okay to pass through an auto, whether it's legitimate or not. However, at this stage of time, we don't. So we've just done a signing with Hannibal for Manchester United, and also Amad Diallo. They were actually signed by the player onto the card, so it's not on a Panini label or a Topps label, or it's not on card and so on. But we refuse to put those in a DGC slab, because we don't feel at this time that autos that are not part of the original card, we want those cards within a DGC slab. We're just not willing to put those in. So, if it's not on a Panini label, not on a Topps label, and not on a Panini card, or, it's been signed as part of the original card, because we don't separate the grade via a card grade and an auto grade. We feel like the card is the card. You can't grade it separately. If the auto is off of the sticker, well, that's still part of the card. The card overall grade is going to be marked down because of that. There is no, well, we're going to mark that a PSA 10 because the card is perfect. However, the auto is absolutely horrible. So we're going to grade the auto element of it down, but the card's still going to get a 10. In our eyes, the card is the card. The sticker is stuck onto that card, and it should be taken as one item.
So
I kind of like that, because I think people can kind of trick the system a little bit with PSA and like not do an auto grade if the auto kind of looks bad, or like, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about auto grades anyway. So I kind of think keeping it simple like that makes sense. Sorry, Kendall, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I know that there are some things that happen in card grading. Like, for instance, if there was a push pin hole in the top where somebody put it on their cork board or something like that, immediately at PSA, that like immediately drops it down to either a 1 or an authentic, even if the rest of it is perfect, because there's a puncture in the actual card. But to your grading scale, if that is one hole, I guess, in one of the 100 squares, would that just get a 90, or would that potentially like unauthenticate or something like that? How do you guys handle like maybe big aspects of damage?
Yeah, so that's actually taken into consideration as well. So if there's denting to the card, that's an automatic -10, as long as it's not over 5 areas. If it goes over 5 areas, then it's a -20. So also with soft corners are an automatic -5. So if there's a really soft corner, then that's going to be significantly marked down. That's a soft corner isn't just a -1. You can't have 4 soft corners and it will come back a 94. That's going to take it down immediately to less than 80. So yes, we do have additional criteria in place that does mark down significant damage.
Nice. So, okay, cool. That was kind of where I was going with like the vintage realm, because like historically people had done that where they just were like, this is my favorite card, push it up on the wall, like it's in my room as a boy, and now you're seeing some of those Mickey Mantles and stuff like that come out that are incredible cards, but they've got so much wear on them. I actually saw a really cool one that had a drawing of like a devil face on Mickey Mantle, and then they graded it. Pretty funny looking card. But anyway, I really don't necessarily have any more questions in terms of your grading system, other than, like, I guess did you say when you guys started?
We've been running for about 2 years now, total time.
And you've graded, you said about 1,000 cards in that time?
Yeah, we're over 1,000 now. We're probably at about 1,000, and well, I've actually got the machine, or one of the machines behind me, which has all of our machines have a counter on them,
like a ticker.
So yeah. I keep one here so I can grade from home because it's nice and convenient, and then we also keep one in the office as well, so we can grade from there. And I think we're probably up to about 1,100 now, I would imagine.
Nice. What is the audience is probably wanting to ask, what is the nicest card that has ever come through your grading company that somebody has trusted you with?
Yeah, tough question, that one. We've had a few Haalands which have been nice to grade. The man Jude Bellingham just scored in. We used to do breaking as well. We don't typically do breaking anymore, but we did used to have a breaking element of what we used to do. We had a Jude Bellingham Stadium Club rookie auto to 100.
Nice.
We was asked to grade it, but we was asked not to seal it because it actually come back a 99. It did get a PSA 10. So that was quite interesting.
Beautiful.
That was a gentleman in America as well. So we got the card from us to America, still in perfect condition, and then it got the PSA 10, which was great. But the point was, the bottom left-hand corner did have a real, quite significant whitening to it. It was so obvious because it had a black bottom left-hand corner, and there was significant whitening there. So if we was gonna grade that, it would never have got the 100 grade, but it did get a PSA 10. So that was quite,
and that's a lucky guy right now. He's a lucky guy.
And yeah, absolutely. So now we've had some decent ticket. We've had some Brady rookies as well that were just in the realm of what we could pass through. So that was quite nice. So yeah, people are starting to trust us with more premium items, which is good. If I'm honest, probably the most premium come from my own PC collection that I put through. So
hey man, you got to believe in your own process, right?
Absolutely,
that's right. If you're not
invest in yourself,
cards, yeah, exactly. I love that. And
we're both entrepreneurs here, man. We both know that is like some of the best things you can do is just invest in yourself. So
yeah, and
I'm proud of you guys, for if nothing else. So
yeah, I like the fact that it's so transparent, because if anything, I grade down slightly harsher on the after element. If there's something that the AI has been a little bit, the AI has been so strong. Like, very rarely do we have to overrule the AI, and the human element comes into play, and we go, actually, well, we think like this should be taken into consideration. However, when I'm doing it, I feel like I have to be so critical, because it's my own PC card, that's the majority of time where I step in and go, no, I'm actually going to grade it down a little bit more, just in case people feel like I've given myself a preferential service. So I'm extra critical on anything that I pass through the system. But it is a really nice thing that if I am entering into breaks, or I'm opening personal product and ripping boxes, that I can squeeze a little bit extra value out of it by putting my cards in slabs. So that does help me in the hobby with getting a return on investment. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Saka just scored as well. So the young lads are going wild for the Lions.
Love the young guys. Let's go get it.
We've had a guy on last week that talked about stickers. Do you guys grade stickers?
No, not at this moment in time, no.
Is that something that you guys are looking forward to in the future, or are you kind of really wanting to stick to cards?
I think if we took our eye off the ball and moved into stickers and started to try and work out AI and a process for that, it may slow down the progression of the card part side of the business. So at the moment, it's not something we've considered. We have been asked. We wasn't even taking on anything over 70 point either. We certainly wasn't touching 100 point and 130 point cards. However, now we do have 100 point and 130 point slabs, so that we have added in. But stickers at this moment in time, I think, are probably not on the radar.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, hey, you got to know what you're doing,
Yeah.
I think
go ahead.
that's a great question, Kendall. And I think like this is not something I'm gonna drag our audience through. We're gonna move on to the rest of the show, but I am intrigued at sort of the target audience for digital grading UK, and it seems like the target audience would, on one hand, make sense for stickers, but on the other hand, after talking to Greg Lansdowne last week and sort of knowing what we all know about stickers and who collects stickers, maybe it becomes a fragmented market. Like it becomes like, would the sticker collector even want their sticker graded? I don't know. That feel free to let me know what you guys think about that.
Well, I guess the only thing that where there would be a huge argument for it was Darwin Núñez rookie stickers. They went from £2 to 80, 90 for PSA 10s. Huge uplift, absolutely massive. So I guess that would be the immediate argument is, to take a sticker from £2 worth to 90 to 80 to 90 pounds worth was a significant uplift. So
yeah, and maybe maybe there is that expansion in there for you guys, and I think that's a good question though, Kendall. So Kendall, since I dominated like the first 30 minutes of the show, why don't you lead us with the L of the week? What do you got for L of the week?
Well, I think Cade Cunningham going down is a massive L of the week, and I had to bring that up. I had to.
Okay, go ahead.
I really do think that now this is going to be very, like, if you guys have watched the show for a while, then you know where my heart's at in terms of my preferential teams. And the Thunder playing well, Paul, is an L of the week for me. I need Victor Wembanyama in a Thunder uniform next year. And they are dominating. SGA can't like stop going bananas. Pokashevsky finally decides to show up in a uniform, and Josh Giddey's playing well, and then Jalen Williams is a first round talent. I mean, like, we've got guys all over the floor that know how to play, and I wish we could tank a little bit more. Fortunately and unfortunately, I think SGA stays a Thunder, and we're going to ride it out and just see what we got with Chet next year. But that's my L of the week, is that the Thunder are playing really well. Therefore, like, they are nowhere close to the bottom. It's a long season, but here we go.
All right, well, I'll go next. I think Cade Cunningham is not my L of the week. Let me just say that, because now the Pistons could maybe get Victor Wembanyama. We'll see. And I think Cade Cunningham is a long-term play anyway. So I've been writing about it at nooffseason.com. This guy's a long-term play. Maybe his cards dip even further and you go buy more Cade. Anyway, my L of the week actually is this. I think that this is really confusing. And
I saw this. This was strange.
So this is the Luka sale that most of you have probably heard about. The 2018 National Treasures Logo Man RPA 1 of 1 sold for $3.12 million via PWCC Marketplace Premier Auction. The same card sold as a non-graded copy for $4.6 million in March of 2021. At that time, it was the all-time most expensive basketball card ever to sell. This is courtesy of Slab Stocks. Thanks to Slab Stocks. Those guys do a great job. We take a lot of our information from them. I want to give them credit. This card, basically what it means is that it's in a BGS 9. It's down 32%. And there's a lot of comments on Slab Stocks Instagram about it. I'm not going to go through all of that. In my mind, this is a weird time to sell this card. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think that obviously being down 32% seems like it could be a big deal for the market. I don't know. I think it's an L just because it was so significantly lower than its previous sale. But I think the bigger L is like what confusion ensues and like what BS ensues from this is like actually my L, because I think it was just like the wrong time to list this card for sale. If this person was trying to profit from it, if this person needed a loss for their taxes,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
prior to the end of the year, then like it's not an L for them. Like mission accomplished. It just happens to be that the card market was took the collateral damage of that person making that choice for their investment portfolio.
And the truth of the matter now is they have 3.12 liquid.
Yes, that's a good point. So, I don't know what the deal is with this sale. I don't know how many people are super confused by this. It's not too confusing to me. I just kind of want to say like my take on it is it's one of those two things. Either the person just sold it at the wrong time. If they would have sold this when Luka, put up 50 after a playoff game, probably could have profited from it, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they needed a tax loss, then good for them. So that's my L of the week. Frankie, do you have an L of the week or a comment on either mine or Kendall's?
No, I don't. To be totally honest with you, I was going to be really harsh because we've had some quite poor feedback around the World Cup so far in the UK. Yeah. The L of the week in the UK has been the World Cup. That is the truth. People have been really frustrated just with the amount of politics that have been involved. It has no place in football. I know it's a global stage. I know it's massive and it's a great place to get messages out there. But I just feel like it should have been a distraction from what's going on in the world right now. It should be used for positivity only. We need to use it to kind of forget about some of the things that are going on in the world right now and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is, which is a footballing spectacle. So yeah, as harsh as it sounds, if I'm being totally honest, the L of the week for me has been the World Cup. While your team's 3-0 up, you kind of feel a little bit better about it. So maybe it's not so much anymore.
Let's go.
If we have you back on in 4 or 5 weeks, they could be your win of the week. We'll see.
Yes, maybe. Well, the reason I don't have an L of the week is because I haven't been purchasing very much. I've stayed away and I haven't been breaking very much either. I hit that Javonte Williams gold vinyl the very next week. He got injured. I hit 2 really nice Scotty Barnes autos. The next week he rolled his ankle and got injured. So normally the L's of the week come from whatever Frankie hits in breaks or picks up online. But I've not been having that pain because I've been staying away and just sitting back and watching at the moment. I've been
you sold Paul the Cade Cunningham and then he gets hurt.
And then he got injured. So you're passing it on to me. I appreciate that. Yeah. Why not?
Frankie, okay. who are your teams?
Who
are your teams, Frankie?
I'm a West Ham fan.
Woo!
Yeah, so Declan Rice is my man, but he's actually come out that's the other L of the week. Declan Rice has confirmed that he will be listening to offers at the end of the season. So we're going to lose our big superstar at the end of this season, which is a little bit of a shame.
Are you a fan of the new stadium?
It's terrible. You make it what it is. Yeah. I'm trying, and all the fans are trying to embrace it more than we were at the beginning. At the beginning, it was just we hate it. Now everyone realizes we're stuck with it. We've got to try and make it what we can. But really, it's not made for football. It's it's not a football venue.
Have you seen Green Street Hooligans?
I have. I was actually asked to be in the movie. All my friends
are in it. Frankie!
Yeah, all my friends are in it. Steve Guy, Dean's in it. And they are actual real hooligans.
Let's go.
Yeah, so they are all.
I love that movie.
They were retired at that stage. When you go to West Ham, we do book signings with all the old faces and so on. And I know of them very well. And most of them are business people now and have grown up and stopped doing the childish behavior that they used to when they were 21 and so on. So you kind of get to know them as normal people, family people. And at the end of the day now they're dads and they're this and they're that. So, but at that time, a lot of the people who were involved in the football club in one way or another got asked to star in the movie. But we had Derby that day, and I just wanted to go and watch the football. So I went and watched it, while a few of the others decided they wanted to be in the pub singing the bubbles and whatever, and a few of them get a few close-ups and so on. So, but they did ask real hooligans to add realism to that. So there are some actual proper people in there.
God, I love that.
Very, very cheesy film. It's nothing like the real world of football, to be honest. It's but it was all fun.
Just make Kendall's week, I think, with that.
No, Frank, I literally watched that with my cousins. I watch that with my cousins every Thanksgiving. It's just like a tradition that we have. We sing the bubbles. I mean, I'm not a West Ham fan, but that's how I started getting into the Prem, was by watching Green Street and just loving it. And then I started watching it. So anyway, that's my love for soccer started there. So
good. We like it. At least it achieved something. I'm not sure that's the correct way people should be introduced into football, but there you go. If it's had that effect. But West Ham was always known for atmosphere. Not the hooligan element, but the singing and the atmosphere and the real making a lot of noise. And unfortunately, unless it's the big games now, that new stadium just doesn't have that spark that it used to have. People used to find Upton Park a very daunting place to go because of the noise was so loud and the pitch was right up close. The fans were so close to the pitch, and now you're a mile away. You need binoculars just to see the pitch. It's very, very different to how it used to be. But there you go.
Yeah, I'm an Everton fan.
That is also Frankie's L of the week, but it's also Kendall's W of the week, because he's so happy that he has someone else to talk to about this movie and about the West Ham hooligans. He's mentioned this on the show many, many times. So I have a feeling that a friendship has just been struck here on the Sports Card Strategy Show. So if that wasn't Kendall's win of the week, it is now. And my win of the week is, hopefully I'll be able to see both of you there and more of you in the audience. Hopefully you'll be at the National 2023. I'm just promoting this because I'm excited. This is my win. This Cyber Monday. So a week from today, there's going to be a sale on tickets for the 2023 National. So that's a win of the week. Go save some money. If you know you're going to the National, just save some money and buy on Cyber Monday coming up.
Does it say what the price is?
That's my quick win of the week. It says not what the price is that I can see in this article here, but it does say ticket sales on sale Cyber Monday. Monday, November 28th, a week from today. Maybe we'll be buying them on the show in the next episode 57.
And it is in the Rosemont Center, looks like, which is a great place for the National. Much better than what we had this last summer. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I hope so. I've never been to Rosemont, Illinois, but if it's not better than Atlantic City, I would be shocked. So, Kendall, who's your real W of the week?
The Indy 1 of 1 was posted this week. And so, as you guys have known, I've been talking about Indy Rodriguez forever. I have an out of 5 that is a PSA 10 that I will be putting up in April to try to, just get some of my win back, and so the 1 of 1 has been posted as of most recently, and he's got it listed for just under 20K, I believe, which I'm like, okay, cool. But I'm a little bit bummed because that means if it sells, I'm going to have a cap of that probably. So I wish he had listed it for a little bit higher, but I am excited to see it. I have not seen the 1 of 1 until it had hit eBay. So
yeah, 20K. So we were talking that we thought it would be a 4-figure card for sure, and that you would be probably pretty happy with that. Was that right when we had
my estimation was that I was going to have no problem getting 10x out of it, which would be 8K. And then I was hoping that it would get
maybe get to be
north of that.
Card. Yeah, gotcha. So 20K, if it ends up getting half of that, then then your cap is much lower than you thought. But if it ends up getting closer to 20K, you should be in good shape.
Yeah.
That's great. Congratulations.
That's
we'll
my
be
win.
pulling for you. Frankie, do you have a W of the week?
Do I have a W of the week? It's a good question. I'm honestly struggling a little bit at the moment in terms of finding W's within the hobby right now. And that's me being totally transparent. I opened a National Treasures Road to World Cup box. Felt like I did okay, but it's transpiring that maybe I didn't do quite as well as I initially thought that I'd done. And a lot of what I hit is proving quite tricky to move, to be perfectly honest. I did hit a to 10 Jonathan David Prism rookie in a Prism break. So I like that. I guess with his links at the moment with Premier League and potential Premier League move there, that's really interesting me right now, because if he does get that Premier League move to Manchester United, which is where he's being touted to potentially go, then that would be a real big win for me there. So that would be quite interesting. I guess at the moment, every W that I'm finding for the hobby is just the fact that, there are advantages to be had at the moment in terms of buying on the aftermarket. For the first time in a long time, you're actually able to pick up product more cheaply. You're actually able to pick up nice cards a lot more affordable, especially through like auctions rather than just the buy it now side of things. So yeah, I guess from my perspective in the UK, where it stands at the moment, we've had such this bubble where everything was crazy pricing. Sealed product was just through the roof and was sold out instantly, and you couldn't get your hands on anything. Real problem. And also the aftermarket was just absolutely ridiculous in terms of pricing. Now it's becoming more of a hobby again. You can actually get involved, which that I'm really enjoying. And one of the things that I'm enjoying just as much as the investment side is also putting full sets together. So I've got a few binders down here. I've got some nice full sets put together, which are all nicely laid out from this year, which is really cool. And I want to do that with Prism World Cup as well. I'd love to have a full set there. So yeah, just the fact that the hobby's coming back round to being a hobby again for me is a bit of a W. And I know we're talking about investment side, and I feel like I've got a little gem that I can bring up when we talk about World Cup in a minute, because I think there's something that's going massively unnoticed right now. So that will be where I add value on the strategy side. But yeah, from my perspective right now, it's just nice that you can get your hands on things again. That's really, a nice place to be. And when you go on to the very limited amount of aftermarket box selling websites that we have available to us over here, what used to be sold out 10 minutes after product going on there, it's actually still around a couple of days later, and you can actually buy some affordable sealed product again, which is good.
Absolutely. All right, so that brings us into the buy of the week, brought to you by marketmoversapp.com by Sports Card Investor. And typically what we do is Kendall and I look at marketmoversapp.com, find a card that we recommend buying most of the time because it is down, and we feel like there's opportunity there for it to go back up based on who it is and what the card is. And so if you go to marketmoversapp.com and use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, you can get your first month for only $1. And I found, I think, a gem here that I don't think anyone would disagree with me on. It is a Julio Rodriguez 2019 Bowman Chrome Prospect Auto Raw. Is down 54.2% over the last 90 days. The last sale was a week ago today for $710. And it is a card that should sell for more than double that during the baseball season. So, Kendall, that is my buy of the week. None other than the J-Rod. What do you think, my man?
Is that a live auction right now?
Well, this is just the sales data. And there's been 5 sales in the last 90 days of this card. And the last sale, $710. The highest sale was $1,550. So this is not necessarily a live auction, but it is a situation where that the most recently sold version of that card was just a week ago, and we are now in the baseball offseason. So I believe there should be more opportunities to buy these types of J-Rod cards. If you can get this one for that price, which I don't know that you can, but based on this data, that would definitely be a buy.
If I see that card at $700, I'm buying it twice.
There you go.
So there we go.
So Frankie, that was my buy of the week. Julio Rodriguez. This is something you and I talked briefly about at the London Card Show. Baseball, right? One of the things that you were kind of telling me is that generally people in the UK, yourself being one of them, we're finding it a little bit tricky to understand what baseball cards to buy. So what I just kind of showed the audience here is you want to go for the Bowman Chrome first prospect auto of any player. And so I just brought up the Julio Rodriguez 2019 Bowman Chrome prospect auto based on data from Market Movers is down almost 55% in the last 90 days. So we typically take a look at things like that as our buy of the week. That's mine. I assume both of you have one. Frankie just kind of teased his. Kendall, who's yours?
Yeah, I'm still buying Makoko. I think that he could have a big World Cup. Him and Vinny Jr. are the guys that I think are going to be really big plays this year. Jude Bellingham was a guy that I've been talking about for a while, and he just scored his first baggie. So I would still be buying some players of the World Cup. But as for now, man, I'm putting up auction or eBay stuff, some of the stuff that I bought at the National. So
nice. You're ahead of the game as always. Frankie, do you have a buy? Who are you buying right now? Anybody?
Yes, the man that I am really going to start to pick up. So from the UK, there's a couple of rules that I have now. And we are very, very fickle football fans. Really, really fickle football fans. We can go from loving a player one week to really not liking them the next week. It's quite unbelievable just how we can flip very, very quickly and turn on players. It's always been the same, but it's especially interesting in the hobby. And I had to then start to set some rules around what I invest in because I'd made a few mistakes on how our, the fans are in general in the UK. And it's led me to only purchase forwards and attacking goal scoring wingers. We have this real affinity with goal scoring players. I would say that the striker and the wingers in the UK is very similar to the quarterback in America. And players like your Jude Bellinghams, even though he scored there now, if you look at the legends of the game who have, were defensive midfielders like your Patrick Vieiras, they sell for next to nothing. You can pick up Patrick Vieira cards, who's regarded as one of the best defensive midfielders of all time. His cards now sell for next to nothing. Whereas strikers and goal scorers is where the love is. And it's exactly the same affinity that the US has with quarterbacks. So, we've seen that real dip from the initial Jude Bellingham, Camavinga. We've seen those real high spike prices because they're rookies, they're current, there's a lot of hype around them. And then they crashed and everybody was like, well, where did my value go in those? And it's just because they're defensive players. Once that initial hype goes about and being a rookie and potentially a future superstar, the fact that they don't score goals typically in their career, it just means that the interest fades really fast. So what I have that rule now is it's only goal scoring wingers and attackers is where I place any investment that I make. And what I also now look for, especially after the Darwin Núñez transfer, Darwin Núñez Obsidian cards were selling for nothing. You couldn't give them away. As soon as he moved to Liverpool, they're selling for £1,000 plus. It was quite unbelievable what the markup that we had there. There's one player at the moment. So I look at, there's a website called transfermarket.co.uk, which has rumors on there basically. Yeah. And it gives you a percentage uplift on how likely it is that rumor is going to come true. There's one player who's going to be playing in the World Cup and is heavily linked with a move to the UK, and that's Noah Okafor. He's linked with Man City and Liverpool. His Liverpool likelihood's gone up 40% today. He scores goals. He's a rookie in the current World Cup products, and these rookies are selling for under $20. I mean, that's for his numbered cards. That's for like his to 75s, to his to 399s. He is just not selling for anything at all. Totally under the radar. But goal scoring player, 22, rookie in the World Cup. He will get a lot of attention playing for Switzerland because he'll be one of their main stars. And if he gets his move to the Premier League, which he's heavily linked with, and that likelihood is getting more and more, then I feel like that could be a real instant quick win. So yeah, he's my guy at the moment.
Love that.
That is some good intel right there.
Yeah, adding extreme value to the Sports Card Strategy Show. Frankie Goodman from Digital Grading Co. UK. Love it. That is outstanding. So now I did want to add one more thing actually, and that is as I was going through this is regarded as part of our buying segment, right? So as I was going through and putting in data in nooffseason.com, the sports card investment report, which you can get a year for free if you email me at paul@nooffseason.com. I'm going to tell you how to get a year for free of our premium sports card investment report. I was implementing the data feed for some Kevin Durant cards. And, he's a player that is not that popular overall in the US for how good he actually is. But what I noticed was a couple different things that caught my eye. And then the same pattern caught my eye with Juan Soto cards. And that is, it's a topic that we've briefly hit on this show before. And it is, when you have a bigger card, should you sell it through PWCC or Goldin? Or should you sell it through eBay? And what I noticed with both of these players is that they had much higher sales through PWCC and Goldin auctions than on eBay. Now with Durant, some of that probably had to do with the timing of the year, but you have his 2007 Topps Chrome Refractor out of $14.99, which is just a weird serial number, by the way, but it's out of $14.99. So it is technically like a limited edition. You'd know the print run of it, right? But in PSA 10, it's going to bring the pop count down quite a bit, of course. In April and May last year, this card sold a few times for over $12,000. It had a sale of $21,000. These are verified sales. Those were all through PWCC. It then sold subsequently right after that for around the same price as around $12,000, twice on Goldin and once on Goldin for just under $10,000. Well, the more recent sales are on eBay, and they are down, at the beginning of this NBA season, same card, PSA 10, for less than $8,000. So I think that is an opportunity, right? I think that, and the same, I'll save you guys the time. Go to nooffseason.com, everybody. Just email me if you want a free year of the premium version so that you can get this data. Email me at paul@nooffseason.com. You can see what I'm talking about. But essentially, it's a similar pattern with Soto. Different times of year, but you've got a situation where these sales, and it took me by surprise. These are not like massive cards. These are actually like pretty common cards and not that hard to get. They're higher prices, but like Soto's first prospect auto, Durant's, 2007 refractor, non-auto, PSA 10, not necessarily a low pop count, going for way higher on the PWCC auctions and the Goldin auctions. That took me by surprise because what I had heard is that typically those types of cards, which are a little bit more common, go for less on the larger auction house sites because people are typically on the larger auction house sites for the bigger, massive cards. So there's actually I'd heard that there's more of a deal opportunity. What I'm seeing in the data, at least for these two players, is kind of the other way around. So I wanted to bring that up in the buy segment because if you're looking to buy Durant or Soto, those could be plays potentially with those two cards. I don't know if you guys have comments on that. But we can definitely, we're running up against some time here at the end of the show. I do want to get to the sell of the week, and then I have a quick would you rather for you guys. So Kendall, do you have do you want to get into your sell of the week, or do you have a comment on
No,
my
I do.
last thought there?
I am too always curious about how this movement happens between auction house versus eBay. It seems to me like, for instance, there was an eBay auction there that sold for like half the price of the top Durant card, but it had like 25 more bids on it, and so you're like you're getting more eyes on eBay, but probably the deeper pockets, the people more maybe not more interested, but more
willing to kind of bid without a budget kind of thing.
Yeah, like they're just it seems like people have bought $20,000 sports cards before on Goldin auction, and that's other people. Like, for instance, for me, bidding $20,000 on a sports card, I better know what the hell's going on. You're right. And so, but like, for I don't know, Joe Schmo that has a $1 billion, for him to has already bought $20,000 sports cards before. He's probably going to a place where he knows the premium cards are going to be from. So I like it. I like that data. It's very encouraging, especially with trying to use an auction house. We've had some pretty big hits from guests talking about auction houses previously. But that's a fun little section of data. That my sell of the week happens to be Tyler Adams. So he just as we were talking about previously, he's not a goal scorer. He's a defensive mid. He's going wild in leads. Everybody loves him here in America. He just got the captain's armband here for our team. And obviously, this team is going to be around for a long time. Youngest team at the World Cup. The Yankees are like the Yanks out here just trying to do it big. We're here to compete. But at the same time, Tyler Adams is going to be a focal point of this World Cup, but he's not going to score goals. He's not going to score goals for the USA. He's not going to score goals for Leeds. He's a guy that's a massive unit and a great player. And personally love Tyler Adams. I would have a Tyler Adams jersey, but I don't want a Tyler Adams auto. So if you do have any Tyler Adams, I would say this week is peak Tyler Adams sales. He's just got the captain's armband for us at the in the USA team. So go get his cards on eBay if you have them.
Nice. Frankie, do you have a sell of the week?
If I'm honest, it's a very similar vein with regards to England, to be honest. I think there's some players for England who had rookie cards that were really hyped. The hype has sort of faded. The World Cup's going to bring some of that hype back again. So, we're looking at Saka's just scored there. I still don't think Saka is long-term elite level. I don't think he's going to reach that pinnacle world-class, world level of footballer. We've seen a bit of a dip around his sort of mosaic autos that sort of come out and had that real hype at the beginning. I think people who purchased those are feeling a little bit of pain at that initial buy now, because you could pick them up for a fraction of what they were last year. He's just scored in the World Cup. So all of a sudden that hype will come back again. And especially with Arsenal being top of the league, I think there's this real, there's just going to be this real hype around those players that were overpriced, really fell back down to ground level. Now the World Cup can bring some of that hype back. If I was there and had been sitting on that card, it's quite difficult to not have that emotion into it, because if you purchased it, it was normally an emotional purchase.
Yeah.
So the value creeps back up again. You go, oh, that's really handy. I've got my value back on that. The card's crept up again. Well, once the World Cup's all said and done and it goes into next season, it comes back down to where it was. You would have wished you would have got out while you still could. So I guess if it's not a PC card that's a massive long-term hold, and it's something that you were looking to kind of get some value out of at some point, I just think though now's the time that those opportunities arise. Another one was Martinelli. I'm still not sure Martinelli's going to make it long term, but he's top of the league. I mean, Martinelli stuff at the London Card Show was selling like crazy, because I think it wasn't at the top pricing. I think everybody thought it had crept down because the market had dipped. There was some real value to pick up. That could explode again if he goes and has a good World Cup for Brazil. Again, Arsenal being top of the league, everybody's got that good vibe and good feeling around him. If it does spike, Martinelli might be also someone that I get out of before it comes crashing back down again. So Martinelli and Saka would be the ones that I'm looking for. That are we going to see that real peak in price again, and is it an opportunity to sell at its highest point before it comes back down to earth again?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. There's two. I mean, my two guys that I'm looking to sell. I have a Ansu Fati Obsidian auto out of 75 that I'm looking to list. Hopefully, he'll score some goals in a match or two, and I can list those. And then Pedri, I've got a second-year Topps Chrome auto. Those are both PSA 9s. So they're not like huge cards, but they're nice cards, and I'm unemotional about them. I think they're great players. I don't really want to hold them long-term. I'd like to get out of them, and I think that this would probably be the month to do it because I just don't know how good, FC Barcelona is going to be in the spotlight and that kind of thing. And so if the Spanish national team if they can contribute to the Spanish national team and we see a bump in their pricing, I'm definitely going to look to move those guys. But in terms of like for the audience, again, I wanted to share, here's some data from Sports Card Investor.
This guy's going nuts.
Yeah. So like this kind of thing, this is Christian Watson. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is because he had a huge game on Thursday Night Football against the Titans. The Titans won, which is great. I'm a Titans fan. So, but Christian Watson's like a talent. I mean, legit, he's a talent, second round pick. Like he's going to be good. But with American football cards, I mean, when you're not a quarterback, you're going to be up and down in the stat column. And this is a fantasy football sleeper. This is not somebody that you want to necessarily hold on to right now. At least he had a massive game on Thursday Night Football. This is when you move cards like this. This is his score rookie card auto. And, last year's score, we're in college uniforms. This year's score, lucky for everybody who bought score, they're in pro uniforms. So they have a little bit more of a runway in terms of their value. And they have these nice sticker autos. So if you're holding on to guys like, especially Christian Watson, but even guys like Drake London, Kenneth Walker III, like if you're holding on to their score rookie auto specifically, I would move that right now because it's probably not gonna be valuable after this period in time for two reasons. One, because a guy like Christian Watson just had a career game. Who knows when that's gonna happen again? Number two, you're gonna see eventually, right, the Don Russ and then the Prism and then the Select, and then no one's gonna want the score. So I think, a couple of reasons, just reminders to the audience to go ahead and move off of these things. So guys, I have a would you rather before we wrap up the show here. And this will test Frankie's knowledge of just obscure American sports stuff. And it'll bring home this
Frankie. You got this
nicely. But for Kendall, he'll probably get a little bit of a laugh out of this, I hope. And the would you rather I have is, would you rather have Chet Holmgren?
Oh, come on.
And a card like, a card that I've tossed out there quite a bit, like his 2022 Bowman U first autos, which I think are great buys, by the way. Or would you rather have Bull? Because Bull for the card market that's invested in Bull. Finally, like, look at this dude's stats. He's lighting it up for the Orlando Magic right now. Yeah. Chet is injured. He's not even doing anything for Kendall's Thunder. But Bull, my friends. Look at the last 3 games. 26 points, 12 of 21 from the field, 12 rebounds. Next game, 15 points, 3 straight double-doubles. 22 points, 11 rebounds. He can shoot the 3. He's shooting 43.8% from three-point land this year, 62% from the field, and he's averaging a double-double. Well, not really, but 13 points and 8 rebounds, almost a double-double in 25 minutes of work. Kendall, I know your answer, but I'm just going to ask you anyway. Who would you rather have? Chet Holmgren or Bull?
I actually really do like Bull. I think he's got a cult following because of his dad being who he was, and because of the way Bull came up in the same Zion hoops. I think what's that Instagram account that like I think it was overtime or something like that, boosted. Oh, Ball is Life. Ball is Life boosted all of their games as the high schoolers, as they were coming up. And Bol needed this move to the Magic. He was dying on the depth chart of the Nuggets. So and I think he went to the Knicks or something in between, and he got hurt. But it was just like, this guy needed to be on the floor, and being in the Magic's depth there. They got a lot of depth at the big position, but hey, he's carving out a role. And to have 21 shots against the Timberwolves, or 26 or whatever it was.
Yeah, 21 shots.
They're feeding the guy. Let's go.
I know. Why not?
I mean, they got Wendell Carter Jr. out there, but still at the same point, like this Magic team is going to be surprising people this year. I actually right now am probably going to take the Bol, and then I would flip it into Chet long term.
Wow, love that. Frankie, do you have a take on this American NBA basketball nonsense?
Very tough for me to say. I at least I've heard of Bol. I haven't heard of the other gentleman, if I'm totally honest. But, I look more and more at the moment. I'm really...
You've killed me, Frankie.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. I'm really trying to increase my basketball knowledge. To be honest, I'm finding it easier to get into than baseball. Because I hit the 2 Scotty Barnes cards, I am keeping an eye on the results. NFL I find really easy. Red Zone in the UK and NFL highlights. Simple. You can get into NFL easy, and that's why it's the biggest of the American sports over here. Basketball, I'm finding easy to get involved in. There's a lot more highlights available. I'm liking that Mathurin. He's quite a good player.
Oh, yeah, he's a stud. Yeah, Benedict Mathurin. Yeah, he's
really good.
Filthy right now.
So I'm enjoying watching him and looking out for his results. So that's quite interesting there. But yeah, Bol, obviously, when he first came in, there was quite a bit of hype around him in the UK just because of his size and everything else. It was just one of those freak of nature type sort of, this guy is just I don't know, just stood out to people. So he was quite on people's radar in the UK because of our lack of knowledge. But yeah, Chet is not someone that I've looked or seen even come up on stats or results or scores or anything.
Well, he's hurt. That's why he's hurt.
There you go. That's why.
Because there's probably quite a few other people in the audience that are that's in Frankie's boat here. So they're both sons of former NBA players. So Chet Holmgren is also the son of a former NBA player, and he was the number 2 overall pick in the NBA draft last year. So much more highly touted than Bol, but then unfortunately has a plantar fasciitis injury in his foot that he suffered against LeBron James in just like a pickup game over the offseason. So Chet's a beast. He's going to be really good. I think it's actually an amazing time to buy Chet. The only thing with him is like really that card that I brought up is kind of really the only one that I would recommend buying. The only like either that or it's numbered parallels and refractors would be the only ones that I would recommend buying, because I think that they will have some resale value due to the Bowman Chrome brand and whatnot. But so that's kind of fun to talk about. I'm a big NBA guy, but I need to ask you before we wrap up the show today, Frankie, F1, how far are you into F1 and F1 cards? Is that on your radar?
It's not really. I did have a card, one of an NBA player who had a legendary father in the game. Unfortunately, it didn't sell for very much at the London Card Show, and that was Tim Hardaway Jr.
Okay.
Treasures, one of one. But there wasn't much love for Mr. Jr. around. His dad apparently was the main guy and a real top legend, but apparently
that might be. That would be like, okay, if we would have talked about that and then I could have taken it to the Dallas Card Show for you, that could be like maybe a regional sale in Dallas for a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. Something like that.
He's a cult hero out there, man. Defensive wizard. That's really why. He's just a 3-and-D type player. So
yeah.
Unfortunately for him, he went to University of Michigan, which is my arch rival, Michigan State Spartan. So
Well, that like I said to you, piqued massive interest in the UK as well, because we had the All or Nothing series, and like I said to you, I purchased about every Chase Winovich card going because of his character and personality, and now he seems to have vanished off of the face of the earth. He had a YouTube channel I used to watch, and I used to find the videos quite entertaining, and I was really I just liked his personality. I thought he was a real character. I bought one of ones of him, and I had all sorts, but yeah, unfortunately, all of them have little to absolutely no value now. But there you go. F1 is not really my sport. What I did see at the London Card Show, it was massively in demand. You know, it was massive, had massive popularity. People were really searching. I can't even tell you how many times I got asked if we had any F1 on our table. I am just not a big F1 fan. It's just some people over here are crazy about it and absolutely love it. There's some people in our Discord group who absolutely love it and watch it religiously and think it's amazing. But yeah, for me, it just we actually ended up having to create their own channel in our Discord, because on a Sunday they'd drive everyone mad. We were all football fans, and we was just like, you lot just go over there, just have
Go
your
over
own
there
play and go and talk about F1 while we're all still talking about Sunday football and so on. So yeah, it's one of them things. You either really, really love it over here and you're quite fanatical about it, or you have absolutely no interest in it whatsoever.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm in the no interest category.
I became interested in it because of the cards. You know, I was not an F1 fan until, probably 8 or 9 months ago, when I just realized that, you know what, this is actually a format that I can understand. I can get, like, the thing that I recommend sports card investors look at in relation to F1 is the format is actually pretty easy to follow. And you actually, of all the card market pricing movements that you have to follow and all the different, like we talked about the Cade Cunningham injury on today's episode. We talked about other little things that you have to know these intricacies of the timing of when to buy and when to sell. F1 to me is just there's way more of a runway in between larger events. There's not as many drivers. There's not as many teams. There's not as many changes. Things are fairly predictable in terms of what the outcomes would likely be and when the movements can happen. Whereas like the NFL, things are super unpredictable. So I think from an F1 standpoint, I'm just very intrigued in the card market. I'm not like a huge fan of the sport. And then of course, Drive to Survive is awesome.
Yeah, that's what got me into it.
So yeah,
Frankie,
Can
Soccer
we
with
edit
a brace.
that sack a bit? Yeah, can we
Soccer
edit
with
that
a
out?
brace.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Saka's got his second, so
nice.
Yeah,
love the live updates here of the World Cup. England's kickoff first game of the 2022.
Saka heard you
World
talking bad about him, and he's like, you know what, Frankie, I'm putting 2 in for the Lions.
All right, guys.
I might actually send you, Kendall. I've got here. I've got a drawer that's dedicated to baseball. And I mean, it is packed to the rafters with baseball cards.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do with them in the UK. I might just box up an entire box for you and ship it out to you, and you can just have fun with it. And yeah.
All right. I mean, sure.
I mean, there's no better person to do that for than Kendall.
Yeah, there's really nobody better.
It's even like, I mean, I went crazy with baseball. I just really wanted to learn. So I've even got things like Panini 3 and 2. Jumbo patches,
nice.
But whoever this guy is, I've got no idea, but that's 7 of 8.
Colton Welker, not very good, but
we've got this guy.
Yeah. Okay. Sam Bachman.
Looks like he's a pitcher, unfortunately.
Big glove, massive card there, massive glove. Patch of this guy,
Logan Gilbert.
I mean, it's got everything in there. There's that's a Soto, which I remember you mentioned, numbered card there. So we've got that. There's like prospects from there's all sorts in there, mate. There's just, but honestly, in the UK, it's just there's no desirability. So you're welcome to. I'd be interested to send you the stuff out and then just see how it all goes, and then just throw some numbers back at me one time. It would be interesting to see what you managed to do with it.
Yeah, man. I'd be honored.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Frankie. Everybody, Thank you so much for watching and listening to Sports Card Strategy Show, episode 56. Frankie Goodman from Digital Grading Co. UK. Kendall, the Lefty McKee from Wild Cards Box Breaks, JustBaseball.com and NoOffSeason.com. Everybody go premium free for a year at NoOffSeason.com. Email me at paul@NoOffSeason.com to find out how. And if you already are a member, just email me anyway and I'll hook you up with something cool. And guys, we'll let Frankie go first. Frankie, do you have anything else you want to add before we sign off for today? I think Frankie might be good.
Yeah.
He's looking good. Kendall, again, love to give you this opportunity to talk about whatever you want real quick before we sign off.
Yeah, vamos Estados Unidos. Super excited for the World Cup today. Massive game for us against Wales. I hope we take down Gareth Bale, and Iran just scored against England, so that's probably going to be helpful for our goal differential going forward. So other than that, man, cue the rock music, Paul.
Yes, sir.